would like to invite Dr. Nomakhosi Mpofana, University of KwaZulu-Natal and Durban University of Technology Hospital, South Africa, for his presentation.
Afternoon. Hope I'm audible.
Afternoon, doctor. We can hear you.
Thank you so much. Let me try and share my screen. Please confirm when you can see my screen.
We can see your screen, doctor. Could you put it on full view?
Okay, full view should be that.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Greetings to everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Nomakhosi Mpofana. I am presenting from South Africa. Completing my PhD studies in dermatology and medicine at Holy Mandela University in KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. So I'll be presenting a study on investigation into acute and subacute toxicity of extracts of Cassipourea flanaganii stem bark. The study was done in vivo. The background of the study is that traditional remedies or medicinal plants are used by 80% of the world population. And this is seen mostly in the impoverished countries. The reason why they use this traditional medicine is that they are a source of primary health care. They are used either for preventing or for treating diseases. So diseases such as asthma, diabetes, cardiovascular disorders, or it could be skin disorders. So this use is actually motivated by the fact that these remedies are affordable because they grow wild. And here in South Africa, we have got what we call multi-markets. So these are places where you get people actually selling in the markets at very cheap prices. So those are accessible to everybody. And also, the other motivation of the use of these traditional remedies is that there is a wide spread belief that plant-based medicines are non-toxic. This comes from the fact that they are natural in origin. But there is concern because the toxicological profile of these plants, it has not been evaluated really. And we know that there could be adverse effects, with drug interactions. So South Africa is not different from any of the countries that use these traditional medicines. We've got our plant here, which is well known as the Cassipourea flanaganii, is locally known as ummemezi obomvu. This plant grows in King Williamstown in the Eastern Cape province. It used to be called Qonce, this town, and then it actually grows in the southern KwaZulu-Natal as well. So how the people use is that it's mainly used by women. So they take the stem bark of the plant, they grind it on the stone, they add a little bit of water, it forms a paste, and then they use it on their faces. They use it as a sunscreen, so they're protecting themselves from the harshness of the sun. Here in South Africa, it is very hot. And also anyone that has got blemishes on their skin, then they use this because it improves complexion and it lightens the skin tone as well. So some will just use it because they just want to look a little bit lighter. We know that the skin tone is branded as beauty and grace in high social status. So if you've got a fair skin, you're regarded as a beautiful person. This is why in many parts of the world, with this perception, it encourages people, more especially women, to indulge in these skin lightening products. So it is the same here as well in South Africa. So this plant has been investigated before in vitro, and it actually contains tyrosinase inhibitors, and it has got anti-inflammatory properties. So it could be the reasons then why it is good to clear the blemishes. So we know that a lot of plants or a lot of skin lighteners, they have got mercury containing products, you know, in them. And then we know that if that, oh, sorry, I'm asked to put on my video. I hope I'm not lost now. I hope everybody can see me now. I was asked to put my video on. My apology, I didn't see that it was off. Sorry, I'm trying to go back to my presentation and I actually cannot see where I was. Oh, okay, all right. I think I found myself. Okay, so I was saying in South Africa, we use this as a topical cream, as a sunscreen to clear blemishes, to improve complexion and to lighten the skin tone, because it is assumed that everyone who is light in complexion is actually regarded as beautiful. So everybody else then wants to feel that they are beautiful, hence the use of this cream. And I was saying that in vitro, the studies have actually shown that this plant contains tyrosinase inhibitors and anti-inflammatory properties. Hence, then it clears blemishes, because we know that blemishes do have, they've got the darkening and they are also a bit inflamed. However, the problem is that it is known that most products which are used as skin lighteners, they do have mercury in them. And then we know that the use of mercury can actually cause the end organ damage. We know that the use of topical steroids suppresses the HPA axis, you know, due to prolonged use. So it is in this context then that motivated us to actually assess the safety profile of this plant. We did it in vivo. So the aim of the study was to evaluate the acute toxicity of the hydromethylonic extract obtained from the Cassipourea flanaganii plant, and we were going to use the Wister rats. So we evaluated the effect of the extract, you know, on different organs of the rats, and we were also looking at the clinical signs associated with the toxicity. We do know that toxicity in animals form an important part, you know, of drug development, because it helps in a lot of ways to determine the adverse effects of a substance on different organs, and you are able to estimate the lethal dose, and it actually gives the guidelines, you know, before the human exposure, or it gives the support to the clinical trials as well. So it is done to guide the safety of volunteers and participants who will later participate into the study. So how the study was done is that we had to get the material. But now getting the material was actually a lot of work. because the plant is becoming extinct because it is overused so much. So the plant is red listed in South Africa. So we had to have a whole lot of ethics that were involved. But we eventually did get the plant, and the material was identified, the leaf material, by a botanist and curator, and it is deposited in the botanical gardens here in Durban. We also needed to get a permit as well from the Department of Forestry and Fisheries and Environment, which we did. And the study was done between two universities, University of Cape Town and University of KwaZulu-Natal. So we also had to get ethics from both universities. So the preparation of the plant extract. So we did get then the plant material, and then we dried the bark for about 4 weeks before it was pulverized, and it was soaked in methanol. It was cooled in the air, and it was evaporated. And so at the end, it yielded the extracts that we wanted to use. Then we did the LC-MS analysis. Then the Worcester rats that we used, they were applied by the University of Cape Town, by the research animal facility there. And the animals were housed, you know, according to the care of housing of the animals that we know. And we conducted 2 experiments separately. First of all, we did the 14-day acute, where we did just a once-off oral gavage. And we did the 28-day acute, which we're doing once a day for 28 days of oral gavage of the plant. And then we took the clinical observations, and there were sample collections. Before we did the hematological indices, we took the blood from the tails because we wanted to conduct the hematology and the biochemical. And then we did the histopathology at the completion of the study period. We harvested organs because we wanted to see if there was any toxicity related pathology in there. And then we did statistics. We chose methanol as a solvent here because we wanted to maximize and obtain the highest biological activity of the plant. And then the results. First of all, the study was conducted in accordance to the ARRIVE guidelines. And the LCMS results, as indicated here, and we've got also the chemical constituents of the compounds that were actually identified there by the LMC. We can see that we have 13 major peaks indicating the presence of 13 constituents of extracts in this plant. And some of the compounds that were actually identified there, they revealed the presence of hexose. The sugar could be maybe glucose, and there's lupiol, there's azelaic acid, there was cassipourea, and dihydroretinol, and there was ester as well. Some of these compounds have actually been identified before by Langert et al. Okay, so we also looked at the morphological alteration. Here, we did not observe any clinical behavior. For example, there was no piloerection, there was no changes in the locomotor activity, you know, or in the food or in the water intake of the rats after the single dose and even after the 28. So both on acute and subacute toxicity study. So there was no morphological alteration that was observed in there. And also the post-mortem examination of the carcasses on the last day revealed no treatment-related gross pathological changes on the organs, as there were no macroscopic changes recorded in necropsy. So we could say that there was no clinically related macroscopic pathological changes that were were observed. And we conducted the students' t-tests and the ANOVA. So what we saw on the full blood count here, we actually saw that there was a significance in white blood cell and in monocytes. So even though there was a significant when on the student t-test, when we did the ANOVA, there was actually no significant difference. So then, and also we actually saw that these white blood cells count, they were still within, the limit. And as I have said, also clinically, there was nothing that was actually pointing out to the significance of the white blood cells here. So it was difficult that you could relate it to the toxicity of the study, because the results were the same both on the 28 and on the 14-day study. So when we did the single ANOVA here for the chemistry, we could see that there was no significant difference in all variables. We also looked at the changes in the weight gain as well. So as you can see, it's being illustrated in the image here before, that in all the groups that we have, all the rats were actually growing up nicely and steady. We can see that maybe the 1,000 milligram group, which was the highest group, the weight started to drop down a little bit, and then it started to pick up as well. But at the end, you can see that all the rats, they were actually growing up nicely. So growth sometimes could be associated, with if there is inflammation or if there's any swelling. But when we did that, only harvested the organs, so that there was nothing of such, so there was no, the weight gain was not related to any pathology. So it could be that the rats were just gaining normal weights as they were still young when we started the study period. So in conclusion, I would like to say that we concluded that there is absence of toxicity in these plants based on the dosages that we tested on. So we did 100, 500, and 1,000 milligram on the 14-day toxicity study. And on the 28-day toxicity study, the maximum that we did there was 2,000 milligram. So on those doses, there was no toxicity that was found. And when we did the histological examination of the vital organs, we did the spleen, we did the liver, and we did the kidneys. So there was nothing that was showing any gross alterations, so suggesting that there were no disturbances. So in future, then clinical trials should also be conducted so that they can complete the safety assessment of the flanaganii to see if it could be really useful to use it, in maybe as a treatment or in the disorders of hypermelanosis. And also because this plant is really getting extinct here in South Africa because people are just harvesting it anyhow. In fact, the manner in which it is being harvested is that the plant cannot grow back because they just take the bark of the plant, and then what will happen to the tree is that it will dry out and then it will actually die. So we need to have efforts to conserve the species through large community-based cultivation. And also it will be important that then we can teach people on the good manners, methods of harvesting the plant so that the plant doesn't really become extinct. I would like to acknowledge that the study was actually funded by NRF and the Department of Science and Innovation, the Health and Welfare Sector Education and Training Authority of the UKZN, and the Durban University of Technology seed funding grant. And we acknowledge the staff of University of Cape Town at the a research animal facility who was helping every day looking after the animals. And we also want to acknowledge the Cape Town Past Care Vet Lab that they did a histology for us, and the supervisors, as well as Scientex Conferences. I am very pleased that I got the privilege of being invited and presenting here. And these are the references. And I would like to take any questions if you have.